Hello, hi again, Twin Flames, Divine Masculine and Feminine. Welcome. So, this video is about a musical, a Broadway musical that reminds me about the Divine Feminine. The musical is called Once on This Island, and all the soundtrack of the musical reminds me of the twin flame dynamic. And the main character in the musical, her name is T Moon, which means little person, or you can affiliate it with being like a little orphan, or even a peasant, someone that's not considered worthy. And you can basically use that in context of people disregarding the divine feminine, people thinking low of the divine feminine. You can use it in that context. But in this musical, this girl was protected. The seas protected her, the sky, everything was working out in her favor. The gods loved her. And she fell in love with someone that was out of her reach, someone that was rich. And that was like forbidden, but for some reason, the gods grant her wish. Everything about this musical reminds me about the twin flame theory. It's so beautiful. All the songs of the musical is like Forever Yours. We heard her prayer. Like, you guys have to check it out. It's called Once on This Island. And once you listen to the soundtrack for this musical, you'll feel peaceful. As a divine feminine, you'll see the protection that this girl had in the musical. You'll see how the gods bow down to her, as far as the gods made sure she had everything that she wished for. And even though life had already began for her, she had prayed for a beginning, as far as she needed a divine counterpart. It's so crazy that years ago I knew about this musical, and the other day it came to my mind, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I knew it had something to do with twin flames, and I couldn't even remember the name of it. But now I know the name. It's called Once on This Island, and you guys should check that out. It has a lot to do with the divine feminine. If you guys just listen to the soundtrack, you will know how protected you are on earth, and how God and the universe and source is doing everything in your favor, because that's what the musical is about. And it reminds me of the divine feminine so much. I hope you guys don't think I'm crazy, but everything about that musical reminds me of the divine feminine. It's so powerful. In the beginning of the musical, I think it's about like something happened and a bunch of peasants had died. And on the island is rich people and is poor people. And a lot of the peasants had died. But T Moon was saved. She was saved in a tree. And the gods protected her. So it was basically like, it's almost saying after a rough time, or after a rough life or a rough past, you are protected. And they made sure she had everything that she needed. This story is so amazing. Just like the other day, I told you guys about the blackbirds, how if you change around that song, it's definitely the twin flame dynamic. I love the blackbirds. You know, two twin flames sitting on the wall. One is masculine, one is feminine. Fly away, masculine, fly away, feminine. Come back, masculine, come back, feminine. Two little twin flames sitting on the wall. One is masculine, one is feminine. Fly away, masculine, fly away, feminine. Come back, masculine, come back, feminine. The story of Moon is exactly like that. I think the soundtrack is 10 songs. I don't remember all of the songs. I remember it was a song about mangoes as well. And the original was like, I will find a tree all covered with mangoes, juicy mangoes, plump, well fed. Pick a mango, a poison mango. And it goes on to a rotten mango and all these different types of mangoes. But if you think about it, it's like life. It's like the tree of life. It's like the tree has many mangoes. But it's also saying that life has many options and you still have free will to pick. I'm not sure how I was able to decipher these songs, but I am. It's basically saying life has many choices and you have the choice to pick. Pick a twin flame, pick a soulmate. A poison mango. And then it was a song that was specifically about Team Moon. And the original goes like this. One small girl, two small feet, but in our heart she always will be. Team Moon running and calling and calling and growing and growing up too soon. But I can't help but to hear the whole twin flame thing in there. Two twin flames, two twin souls, but in our hearts we always will be. Twin flames running and calling and calling and growing and growing up too soon. You see how easy it was to change those words? It's because these songs, these movies, they remind me of the dynamic. It was so easy to change the lyrics. It was more soundtracks in the musical that I cannot remember right away. But if you get the chance, please check out the musical, especially Divine Feminine, not so much the masculine, because the musical had a lot to do with the feminine. And as you can see, the twin flame journey is not always easy. Once on this island with T Moon, I'm convinced that's the story of the divine feminine. At least one aspect of it. Just as I spoke about the other day when I spoke about, I don't know if it was in one of my upload or my live, when I spoke about Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, how she was like the divine feminine, where at times she had to be brave. Her story is quite different from T Moon. Timoon was basically this lost peasant girl, but she was protected by the gods. And they did everything in her favor. Basically, if she had stopped on her path, the rocks would basically be comfortable to make her a chair. You know, you basically is almost stating that the universe will bend its back forward just to make sure you're comfortable, divine feminine. It's nothing to worry about. Check out the musical Once on This Island and listen to it. Yeah, so far, those are the only things that I can say reminds me of the twin flame dynamic. That's the Broadway musical Once on This Island. Has everything to do with the divine feminine. The Hunger Games always, to me, has slight depiction of the twin flame theory. And the third thing is the blackbirds, which I told you guys the original goes like two little blackbirds sitting on the wall, one named Peter, one named Paul. Fly away, Peter, fly away, Paul. Come back, Peter, come back, Paul. And it's saying that two of the same kind is sitting on a wall. And one has to go away and learn lessons, and the other has to do the same. But eventually they'll come back and they'll be on that same wall. So that's definitely exactly what twin flame theory is about. I can't stop talking about the blackbirds. I can't stop talking about Hunger Games. And now, for sure, I can't stop talking. Of course, I cannot stop talking about T Moon, Broadway musical Once on This Island. The orphan that was saved in the tree, spared by the gods to be in love with someone that was wealthy, that was out of her class. Isn't it like that in the twin flame theory? One is always more accomplished in certain aspect, if not in wealth, in other things. And these things stood out to me. Well, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you guys. I know I might seem weird to certain people, but I usually go with my vibe, and I just try to take things one step at a time. Bye, twin flame.